Hi everyone, it's Bridget here. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been such a long time since I filmed a video, and I honestly really do feel bad about it because I feel like there's so much I want to say to you guys. You know, when I started YouTube, it was such a different space, and I hate to be the person that is like, oh, YouTube has changed. I started my YouTube channel because makeup was like a fun thing for me. I started this all for fun. Somewhere along the line it stopped being fun, and I think that it's because it just takes so much to make YouTube videos. You know, I feel like especially the beauty community, there's such sort of like a big expectation to always, you know, bring in new things to your channel, talking about new things. The lighting is expensive, good camera is expensive, background is expensive. Like, you have to also have the space for it. And I'm so sorry if you've clicked on this video to hear me talk about foundations, which I will do in a second. You know, as I said, I haven't made a YouTube video in a while, so if you're new to my channel, hey, what's up? It's been a while since I've made a video, but now I'm back. I just want to talk about things that I love and that I am really truly passionate about, which has always been the case, but now it will be on a more tapered or a more narrow focus, I guess. But I also want to talk about other things that I'm passionate about as well, which brings me to this video, because one of the things that I am super passionate about is foundations. I love, and I find myself wanting to buy every foundation. I tend to get a little carried away with foundation releases. It's almost like a moth to a flame. I cannot help myself. I want to get every single one of them, but the ones that I have to talk to you guys about are ones that I would say the earliest one is probably summer release, like late summer release. But guys, I love these, and I've wanted to do reviews, but I think that they're overly reviewed right now on YouTube. Mind you, if you guys want me to do individual reviews on these, of course I'll do it if you thumbs up this video or leave a comment in the comment section. I'm gonna start with the oldest one I have, and this foundation I also noticed have been on so many people's favorites list. It's the Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra-Longwear foundation, and this is what it looks like. Now, I got a sample of this foundation in summer when it first came out. On a Sephora order, I noticed that you can get a deluxe sample of one of the shades. I think they had 4 shades. I got the shade Praline, and it was even dark and orange for the summer for me, but I made it work. Every single time I wore that foundation, I got compliments. People are like, oh my god, what are you wearing? Your skin looks flawless, but it doesn't look like you're like, what foundation are you wearing? I love it. It was the Laura Mercier foundation, and at the time it was a new release, and I didn't purchase it right away because the other shade that they had up from this from Praline, this one is in the shade Nutmeg. So the Praline shade is the shade darker than this one. The shade down from this one is so light, and I'm questioning whether to purchase that shade, because as I've said many times on my channel, if I love a foundation enough, I will get it in both shades. And I'm this close, like this close to purchasing the other shade. I think it's called Chai, but I'm just so pissed at the fact that there was such a huge jump from Chai to Nutmeg that I'm just kind of pissed about it. Guys, this foundation is bomb. It's long wearing, it looks smooth. I would say your face looks photoshopped, but I feel like that's such a cliche, but it's just so smooth, you know, just absolutely beautiful, gorgeous matte finish. But I feel like with the right moisturizer you can get away with this, or the right primer, even if you are dry. I think that the skin type would definitely be oily, but if you're normal, even if you're dry and you exfoliate and get rid of like all your dead skin cells and you put on some moisturizer, but you do want a foundation that's going to be very long wearing, I would say this foundation would work for you. But if you're oily or normal to oily, which I am, this foundation is what foundation dreams are made of. I'll be honest. I love it so much. So the next foundation I want to talk about was a surprise hit for me. I did not have this foundation on my radar whatsoever. I didn't. But then as it goes, it's a foundation, you know, moth to a flame. I was in Sephora one day and saw these people milling and mulling around the, you know, that little space, and I was like, oh, I tried it on and I was like, okay. Seriously, I tried the Huda Beauty foundation and honestly guys, I was blown away. I liked it a lot, and I didn't want to like it, but it's a beautiful foundation. Now by the time I got around to buying it, I was matched to, oh, what's that shade called? Oh my god, I'll write it for you guys. They were all sold out of that one, so I ended up going for the shade Cinnamon 440G, and it doesn't oxidize. Neither does the Laura Mercier one, if I hadn't mentioned that. To be honest, it's too dark for me. But lately I've been loving darker foundations because I can always highlight and not do as much contouring. And I also prefer how a darker foundation with highlighting looks in pictures better than even a foundation that matches my complexion looks. Mind you, the shade that matches me perfectly and this shade down, there should be at least one more shade in between. I feel like there could be 2 shades in between with different undertones, but this is the one I have, 440G Cinnamon, and I love this foundation. It lasts long. This now is what makes your skin look photoshopped. Like, it's full coverage. By the way, all these foundations are full coverage, if I didn't mention that. The Huda Beauty, what is it called? Faux Filter High Coverage Cream Foundations is lit, and everything that it promises, I think it delivers. Could use a few more shades, I will say, even though I honestly think she did good on the shade range. Not great. I think any skin type will get away with using this. And you know what? I actually love the primer. Like, once again, I'm this close to purchasing the primer. I love the primer, but I definitely think I'll get the other shade up from this when they're restocked, because online and in stores you cannot find this foundation anywhere. Like, all the colors were sold out, so that should tell you something about it. It's actually pretty good. Okay guys, so the next foundation is actually gonna be a drugstore foundation, and just like the Huda Beauty one, not for the same reason. This wasn't really on my radar. I went to Walmart the other day and saw that Maybelline had all these new releases. Maybelline, what is this called? Up to 24-hour foundation. Is that what it's called? Oh, sorry. The Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Foundation. And it was love at first application, guys. At first, I was really confused because I thought that there wasn't a shade for me. The shade I ended up picking up was 334 Warm Sun. Now, if you look at this foundation, I don't know, I would say to me it felt like it was a lot lighter than my complexion. I was like, there's no way this is gonna fit me based on what I saw in the bottle. And I looked at the next shade down and it was Coconut, which is a shade that Maybelline has even in their matte foundations, you know, those ones. Charlie's squeaking his toys, that's what you're hearing. I picked it up anyways because I'm like, there's no way. I went online trying to see, I was like, is this all the shades that there are? Really? Like, there must be a shade in between this and Coconut. Well, there isn't, and I went with this thinking it must be my shade. Even though it looks a lot lighter, it actually matches. It's a lot darker, I would say, than what you see in the bottle. And I love it. It's full coverage. I would say I can get away with one pump of this foundation. It doesn't oxidize. I would say it's long wearing, depending on your skin type. I'm oily, but I'm more normal to oily. You know, if anything, I'm a little bit more dehydrated this time of the year because it's winter. But this foundation is actually quite beautiful on my skin type. It lasts long. I would say the first time I wore it, I had it on for close to 10 hours, and just on my nose I was patting it just to get rid of most of that little dewiness that was coming through. But I actually love that about it. It's not so mattifying that it makes you look like cake. I feel like it just kind of glides over your skin, glides over your pores, and it just gives such a beautiful finish. It's actually the foundation that I'm wearing today, and I absolutely love it. The last foundation I purchased was the L'Oreal Infallible, and also when they came out with the matte version to their, you know, their Maybelline foundation. I forgot what it's called, but I'm actually quite impressed with this. And to be honest, I was quite impressed with all the stuff that Maybelline launched. So I've been low-key stalking new drugstore launches. I've never been this excited for a drugstore launch, probably ever. Even the new shades of their matte lipsticks that they came out with are pretty gorgeous. And don't be discouraged that your shade is not there. The shades are actually darker than what you see in the bottle. Just for a heads up. You guys can see this one that I'm holding right here. This is the newest foundation that I've purchased, and at first I had a love-hate relationship with this foundation because actually, let me tell you the name of it. It's the new Nars Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. If I buy more foundation from a brand, I would have to say that brand would be none. Every time Nars comes out with a foundation, I cannot help myself. I just have to buy it. There's a Sheer Glow, which is supposed to be glowy but not really glowy. Then there's a Nars All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation, which I'm on my second bottle of that one. It's kind of like my go-to most of the time foundation. But this one was just like, okay, if you love those two, and you kind of want a foundation that has like the best of both worlds, like the All Day Longwear as well as the Sheer Glow, this is what you would get. So I feel like that's what both of these foundations kind of do, except they're both in one. I didn't purchase this online because Nars has extended their shade range to include more colors. So I love that, to be honest. I kind of wanted to see what the other shades are, so I did get a sample of the shade lighter than this and also the shade darker than this, which I think is Joaquin and Morea, I think it's called. I'm glad to report that I'm actually Cadiz. Cadiz, I would say, is a little bit more red than I want most of the time, but it's just still the closest match that I do wear in the Nars foundation. So I was kind of happy to see that. The first time I tried this foundation, I did not like it. It looked cakey. It did not sit well on my face. After a few hours, I felt like it was separating. And then I remember that I literally threw it on that day just to see how it performed. I didn't put on a primer. I was just around the house. The second time I tried it, it was better. But then the third time I tried it, I was like, okay, I see you, Nars. It's a bit more moussier than the Luminous Weightless Foundation, but it's as full coverage as the Luminous Weightless Foundation, because to be honest, you just need a few pumps of that and your face is covered, flawless. And I think that's why I love that foundation so much. The texture of that one is almost like water. So when you put it on, as much as it gives you flawless coverage, it just doesn't really, you don't really need much to do it. And I think I was just using too much. You know when you get a tester, you kind of put it on, you don't know if you're using 1 or 2 pumps. So I just kind of slap it on my face. And then by the third time I used it, I was like, you know, I'm just gonna dull it back a little bit. Loved it so much. I was like, it kind of makes sense for me to have all these Nars foundations, because as much as they're in the same color, they're all different coverage, they're all different textures, and they give me a certain look. And I love this. I honestly do love this. Now, if you are really oily, you're not gonna like this, because I mean, to be honest, if you don't really prime well, even as a normal combination person, and powder it well, you will start to get oily probably after the 5-hour mark. But if you do those steps, you know, a good primer, you powder good, this will definitely give you, I would say, a good 8, 9, 10 hour wear flawlessly. But I would say don't use as much as you think. Go in with a little bit and add in areas where you need it. It's full coverage. It's satiny. I wouldn't even say it's satiny. It does feel matte, but you know that texture that I feel like a lot of foundations are trying to achieve nowadays, where it's more of a velvet. That's the word I'm looking for. It's more of a velvet finish, a velvet texture. It's not very matte, and it's not like dewy and glowy. It's Longwear. It kind of dries, but it doesn't dry to a matte finish. It dries to more of a velvety finish, and if you powder it, it looks flawless. It doesn't grab the powder and give you a cakey look. If you don't powder this, this is not transfer proof, but if you do powder it properly, when I say powder it, I use the MAC Studio Fix powder very lightly with like a kabuki brush, and I kind of stamp this all over. If you do that, this will definitely give you transfer proof wear, because if my makeup transfers, and if you guys know me, I do not do well with transfer makeup. Like it just doesn't, I cannot. So this was kind of a miss, but now it's a hit for me. Okay guys, so that is it for this video. I hope you did enjoy it, by the way, because I just had the time of my life. No, I really did enjoy making this video, and if you guys want to see reviews on any of these foundations, trust me, I will be more than happy to film a test it, wear it, all kind of good stuff on them. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.